On this episode of So Basic, I'll be showing you an easy Alfredo sauce with a trendy twist, thanks to this super cool beverage. Hey, Rosé. And the best part is, in the time that it takes to cook this pasta, we'll have made an easy, super silky sauce that you'll definitely want to share. I'm Grant, and today everything is coming up rosé. Yummy. All right, so let's get started on our Rosé Alfredo. So what we're gonna do first is start by making our Alfredo sauce. And like I already told you, we're gonna make this sauce in real time today. Are you ready to get started? Because I am. Let's turn on our pan. We're gonna turn it on a high heat and we're gonna put in half a stick of butter. We'll put in the whole stick. Why not? It's Alfredo sauce, right? So you need to have a lot of butter, you need to have a lot of cheese, and you need to have a lot of this starchy cooking pasta water. So let's put in all of our butter and we're gonna get that melted. I'm gonna drop in our pasta. Today we're using spaghetti. Whoops, not in that pan, buddy. Today we're using spaghetti, not in that pan, guys. Come on. We're gonna use spaghetti today. You can use any kind of long pasta. You could use a shortcut pasta if you really wanted to, but my suggestion is to stick with a long pasta since we're making kind of a creamy sauce. You don't wanna have a short pasta because it's not going to hold on to that silky sauce as well. So go for whatever you have in the pantry, but anything that's long is gonna work best for this. So I'm gonna use shallots today, and we're gonna throw them into our pan. Oops, I need to get my timer started. So I'm setting the timer for 10 minutes. This pasta takes about 12 minutes to cook, so we're gonna cook it for about 10 minutes because the last couple minutes are the most important minutes, I think, when you're making something like this, because we're going to marry the pasta with the sauce in the pan and let the pasta kind of continue to cook in the sauce so it soaks up all that delicious, yummy rosé flavor. I initially came up with this sauce because I love drinking rosé in the summer. Like, who doesn't love drinking rosé all summer long? My friend Jeanette and I have come up with a ton of rosé recipes, and they're all on the Rachael website. Jeanette wrote a frosé recipe. I made this really delicious peach and rosé salad with burrata. It's super good. Ooh, and I also made rosé donuts once. All of those are on the website. I'm gonna turn down the heat a little bit. Because we don't want our onions or our butter to brown. We just want to cook them and kind of soften the onions up a little bit and get all those aromatic flavors kind of working. I'm gonna give our pasta a stir too, because you want to make sure it doesn't stick. Ooh, it's looking good. Let me check on my time. I have about 7 minutes left. All right, I can do this. So we're also gonna throw in a ton of garlic. Now, if you've never made a Alfredo sauce at home, it's really simple to make, but it does involve a little bit of technique. And basically all it is just butter married with pasta water, some of that starchy cooking water, and cheese. But it's a super simple pasta sauce to make, and you probably have all those ingredients in your pantry right now anyway. So why not make this for dinner? All right, cool. So now we're going to start chopping up our garlic. So I have a whole head of garlic back here. Do you ever get a whole head of garlic like this and you're like, how do I get these little cloves off? It's so annoying, right? It's actually not that annoying. You just put it into a little towel like this, and then you take out all of your aggression. Boom! Look at that.
Yay!
Look at those beautiful little cloves of garlic. Wasn't that fun? It's like therapy. You know what else is therapy? A glass of wine. I'm gonna pour myself a glass of wine real quick. Because why not? Why not? Get it? All right, so I'm gonna add 2 cloves of garlic. Just gonna mash those guys up. 1 and 2. We're just gonna give those a quick chop, just like that. So it looks like we have about 5 minutes left on our spaghetti. So I need to work a little bit faster here. And the reason why I'm trying to time the pasta to the sauce is because I wanna drop the pasta directly from this pot into this pan so that we can get some of that pasta cooking water. You could obviously also use a colander and just take out some of that water with a mug or something, but I'm gonna try to, dirty one less dish and not have to go all the way back to that sink over there. It is so far away, I cannot walk that far. Not today. But I am gonna walk back there and grab our tomato paste. I'm adding a little bit of tomato paste to this recipe because I wanted it to have a pretty rosé color. Typically in an Alfredo, you wouldn't use tomato paste. So if you're making a regular Alfredo at home and you're not gonna use the rosé in it, you could totally skip this part too. It does give it a nice flavor, but it also gives it a pink blush color. And I love the pink blush color of this pasta. It's so pretty. And it's just has this cute little, it's like it's flirting with you. It has this little blush. All right, so I just added our tomato paste into here, and you just wanna add it into the butter and the onion and the garlic a little bit, just to cook it a tiny bit, just to wake up all those flavors. As Rachel always says, whenever you're using something like this, This ingredient's been sitting in this tube for a long time, so you want to add it into something hot and just sort of wake up all those delicious tomatoey flavors. And now I'm going to add in our star ingredient, rosé. I'm going to add about a cup of it to our butter, or a cup and a half. That's fine too. And I'm going to turn up this heat, and we're going to add in a little bit of salt. About a half a teaspoon is fine, and a little bit of pepper. And now we're going to bring this up to a bubble. And once it gets to a nice boil, we'll add in some of this pasta cooking water. So we asked you guys on YouTube what are some of your biggest questions related to cooking with wine. 41% of you chose, will it make it taste sour or bitter? So when you're gonna cook with wine, you wanna make sure you get a nice, good quality bottle of wine, and you also wanna make sure that you cook it enough. You wanna bring it to a boil and let it bubble for just a couple minutes. That way you cook out that bitter alcohol flavor. It doesn't have to be an expensive bottle of wine, it just has to be one that you would enjoy in a glass all by itself. Teresa commented and said, how do I know which wine works best with the dish that I'm making? Well, Teresa, the wine that you choose really does depend on the dish that you're making. For this dish, you want to choose something that is nice and dry, not something sweet, because you don't want to end up with dessert spaghetti. Janie commented and said, what can you use as a good substitute for wine? Well, Janie, I didn't quite know the answer to your question, so I did a little research and I found that the most popular answer that I could find on the internet was to use grape juice, which I do not suggest because that will make your dish taste like grapes. So if you don't want to use wine for this Alfredo sauce, just totally skip the wine step, but definitely don't add grape juice because that'll make a really weird sauce. Now I'm going to answer some of your questions about Alfredo sauce. Shane commented and said, I'd like to know how to make true Alfredo sauce. I've seen some with cream, some without, and I once saw someone make it with boiling pasta water and Parmesan. What's the real deal? Well, Shane, the real deal when it comes to Alfredo sauce is the emulsification of 3 ingredients: butter, cheese, and water. In this dish, we're also adding a little rosé, so it's not super traditional Alfredo sauce, but if you wanted to make it super traditional, take out the rosé. April commented and said, I make this all the time with cream, but don't always have it on hand. Would be interested in knowing if/how to make it without cream. Well, April, today's your lucky day because we're making Alfredo sauce without cream. I want to add about a half a cup of the pasta cooking water. I hate to admit that I did this, but I think I did the cardinal sin of cooking pasta and I forgot to season my water. This is blasphemous, and I can't believe that I just did this on YouTube. But I did it. But the secret is between you and I. I'm gonna add in the salt right now, and we're gonna pretend like I did that 10 minutes ago, okay? Thanks, guys, I appreciate it. I'm gonna have another sip of wine. And now I'm gonna add in some more of this pasta water, because now this one is seasoned and has salt in it. I'm gonna bring that to a bubble, and it looks like we have about 2 minutes left on our Alfredo. So while this is cooking up, and this is still boiling, I'm gonna clean this up a tiny bit. And by clean it up, I mean just push everything to the side. That's perfect. And now I'm gonna chop up some of our parsley, because we're gonna top this with a little bit of parsley today. Not only because it's really pretty and looks really nice, but it gives it that nice fresh kind of flavor on top. We always pick the leaves off of the herbs, and that just takes so long. And I'm always why do we always do that? Because this stem is completely edible. It tastes like parsley. As long as you chop it up fine enough, it's gonna be fine. So I'm not gonna pick the parsley. I'm just gonna start at the stem end and just start chopping it up. So we have about 1 minute on our pasta. So once that timer goes off, I'm gonna grab some tongs and throw our pasta directly into our pan. And then we're looking at having a pasta on the table 2 minutes from now. I know that sounds crazy, but it comes together that quickly. Now this is a great weeknight dinner because it is super simple to make, but it's also a really great side for pretty much anything you make all summer long. If you're having some grilled chicken, some grilled shrimp, anything like that, it just pairs really nicely. And look how nicely that thickened up. And that's because of that starchy cooking water. We took some of that water that has all the starch from the spaghetti and put it into there. And once all that water starts to boil away, you end up with this silky, yummy sauce that pretty much thickens up everything. Look at that. Doesn't that look yummy? Can you believe that that took only 10 minutes to make? Believe it, because you just saw it on YouTube, baby. All right, our timer's going off. That means it's time to throw our pasta right into our pan. And like I said before, I'm gonna use tongs. That way we can get some of that starchy cooking water. Starchy cooking water. I think I just called it cookie water, which sounds delicious, but that's not what we're making today. We're going to throw our pasta directly into our pan, And when you do this at home, you definitely have to do this really dramatic thing that I'm doing, but just throw it in there. It's part of the technique. And like I said before, we're gonna keep the heat on this pan because we're gonna continue to cook our pasta in the sauce. And whenever I do this too, you always have these like annoying little bits at the bottom that are so hard to pick up. So you can just grab a spoon to kind of help you out a little bit. There we go. And once the pasta goes in there and you keep cooking it, you can kind of see it starts to soak up all of that sauce and gets a little bit drier. It looks good. I'm actually gonna add a tiny bit more of our pasta water to it because this next part that we're about to do is one of the most important techniques whenever you're making a sauce like this. We're going to add the cheese to our spaghetti and to our sauce, but we want to like emulsify that cheese. And what emulsify basically means is just two things that don't want to get along. We're going to marry them together, just like any good marriage, really. Two things that don't get along, just if you just stir it enough, it'll work out. Trust me. You didn't know that this was also like a relationship counseling show, did you? All right, so I have 2 cups of cheese right here, and we're going to add 3/4 of that because I want some for on top. And this pan is still super hot. That sauce is really super hot. And we're just going to stir, maybe give it a few tosses. This could be dangerous, guys. Ooh, he can do it. Yes, he can. Yay! And look at that. This delicious, beautiful Rosé Alfredo. Let's grab a dish. Look at that. Now we're gonna top it with some parsley. Oh, get back in there, girl. It's dinner time. All right, you can do one of these if you want. Oh! Do it on the other side for good luck. Hey! Got most of it on the counter, but guess what? It doesn't matter because this is Rosé Alfredo. It's your new favorite weeknight dinner, and this is so perfect for entertaining. Imagine if you went to someone's house and they made you this. Wouldn't you love them so much? You can be that person. Make this for somebody you love. Can I have a fork? I don't have one, and I really want to eat this. So this is our Rosé Alfredo that we just made. It only took 10 minutes to make. This is a few ingredients, but a super impressive dish that you can make any night of the week. This is really hot and really dangerous, but I'm gonna do it. That is so good. That is delicious. And it is so shocking that you can actually taste the rosé in there. This is the perfect summertime spaghetti, and I hope you guys make it. Thanks for watching. That was not cute. It's like Lady and the Tramp style, but I'm both a lady and a tramp. All right, are we done here? Oh God, that was fast and furious. If you watched today's episode and thought, oh my God, I like totally need that in my life, make it, but then share it with us using the hashtag #GrantSoBasic. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go on. I'm talking to you. Subscribe. Yummy.